Hello and welcome to QED NG. Today I'm not going to waste time to introduce you to my guest. He's someone a lot of you know. Uncle PD.
Sir.
Welcome to QED NG.
Thank you very much.
A lot of people, other people call you Patrick Doyle, but I call you Uncle PD.
No wahala.
Okay, so Uncle PD is a filmmaker, he's a broadcaster, MC, he's also, what else again? A man of God.
Amen.
And a lot of other things. Okay, so you've seen him in films like Isoken.
Yeah, Isoken.
I've seen you in Oloture.
Yes.
King of Boys.
Castle and Castle.
Castle and Castle. The Black Book.
The Black Book. Okay.
And many others. You know, Wikipedia said that in the 90s, you used to play roles like Reverend and Pastor. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed that these days, I've been seeing you in roles like that of Sir Phillips, Senator Dipo. And what you do these days, what I see you do these days are not what you used to do those days. So what happened?
Nothing happened. In those days, because the filmmakers of those days were not as sophisticated as they are today, they had this knack of typecasting persons, especially if you did it well once. For instance, Nkemowo is a great actor with range, but Nkemowo did drunkard well once, and they stereotyped him into that role of, drunkard and village clown. So that was the trend then, because of the caliber of filmmakers who, to their credit, we owe them a debt of gratitude for opening up the motion picture industry in Nigeria and by extension in Africa. But they were not the most cerebral group of people. So typecasting was something that they relished doing. I did Pastor in one role well once, and every other person wanted me. Every time they needed a pastor in a role, they called on me. But as you can see, I have always been able to do more than pastor. So the caliber of filmmakers we have now are a bit more sophisticated in their approach to filmmaking, and therefore they've given me the latitude to express myself beyond the confines of the pastor role.
Okay. So, but of all these roles, which will you say you are more comfortable with?
To be honest, doing the bad man role was very exciting. Being the villain was exciting for me because it was not something that I was used to. But the role that I personally like the most is the role of the father, like in Isoke. That fatherly, very patriarchal role, good guy, father taking care of his children and dishing out sound advice. That role is a role that I particularly like for myself, but they have been far and few and in between.
Let me go back to you. And I didn't say this at the beginning. You started broadcasting about 40 years ago, if not more.
44.
44. You started with Voice of Nigeria.
Voice of Nigeria.
You were with NTA.
Yes.
Then you Silverbird and a lot of others.
Yes.
Right. The last time I spoke to you, when I spoke to you last week, and I must thank you for even agreeing to do this interview with me. I called you once and you said you were coming. I must thank you specially for that.
Not a problem.
Now, but there's a joke that you also said to me that, Olumide, I am less busy these days. That's the word you use.
That's the word I use.
Why do you say you are less busy?
I'm less busy because, how do I say it? Acting work is far and in between. There's few and in between, far and in between. And it's not because I don't want the roles. It's because maybe at my demographic, only certain roles are called for only so often. It's a new world. It's a world for the young people, for the Toby Bakaris. You understand? The stories are more contemporary and more tilted to suit them. But that's not saying that people in my demographic are not busier than me. But in my case, I do not possess the social skills to, how do I say it? I'm not as sociable as I ought to be, or as I once was. So the mingling in the circles where my professional colleagues mingle, I'm just not attracted to those places, and the ambience does not agree with me, which it's not anybody's fault. There's nothing wrong with the ambience. It's just that I have gotten to a point in my life where being at certain places and being seen is not fitting and proper, in my opinion, for me. There's nothing wrong with those places. There's nothing wrong with going to a nightclub, for instance. But I don't see myself in a nightclub. There's nothing wrong with many things. I have nothing against it. It's just that I have seen myself beyond it. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirts. Let me rest now. You understand? So that's the reason. It's not that I'm being discriminated upon. Maybe I'm being a little bit too discriminating. That is what's responsible for my being less busy.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that you are not a particularly social person. Seeing Sir Phillips in Oloture doesn't convey that kind of person.
We're acting there now. We're acting there. You see, whilst I was doing it, you see, because let me tell you why I said that I prefer the fatherly rule now. I am of a persuasion now where I hate iniquity. I'm not being sanctimonious here. I was there. While we were filming it, there was a lot of smooshing going on. I, quote unquote, raped someone there. For me, it was work, because I also knew that the character was going to get a comeuppance. You know, so I will console myself with the fact that, yeah, you can do a bad guy role, but the bad guy is going to get his comeuppance, so that you can tell him, say, this is what you get when you do that. That I can use that to console myself and say, but in reality, I don't like being in places where debauchery is taking place, where iniquity abounds. I used to be there. I was chief amongst the revelers. You get what I mean? But it's no longer, I don't see myself there anymore. You understand? So, but when it's time to act and there are bills to be paid, I will do it. And I will find a way to console or justify it. Okay, I'm doing this thing because this man then go kill him for the thing where he do. I say, okay, it's a lesson to be learned by young people. But you and I know that it's for the paycheck. You understand? But really, if I could help, I'd like to get to a point where I don't even have to do that anymore. I'll wait for the Socken script. You understand? I think that's where I am now. I'm waiting for the Socken, the nice daddy and the grandpa role.
Or man of God role.
Or man of God role, or some nice KBAC doing, you know, Olujokos became Igwe. Okay.
Have you not played the KBAC role before?
As a matter of fact, recently I did in a Yoruba film, but it was also a bad KBAC. But the film will be out soon. I think it's called Ogidombirin. It will be out soon. I played KBAC, and a lot of people were wondering whether my Yoruba would be good enough for the role. I will tell them to wait and see the movie and decide whether or not the Yoruba was good enough. Unfortunately, the producers were saying no. They want it amolumala, you know, like small Yoruba, small English, that this KBC was learned, so he will be interspersing his, and even the chiefs in the KBC palace who were core Yoruba actors like Jide Kosoko and Ogabelu, they made them, apparently most of the Yoruba films now, there's a lot of English mixed, you know, which I was a little bit disappointed. I said, no, let's get down to it. So kudos to Bolanle Austin Peters for her Bashoruga, which was historic, so the Yoruba had to be sound.
How would you describe your Yoruba?
I am a Shekiri. We're Yoruba-speaking people. We speak original Yoruba. You understand? This is what you people speak is contemporary Yoruba, but we speak Ofore, the real Ofo. So speaking Yoruba should not be. If a boy who grew up in Ijebu-Ode speaking Ijebu dialect, you know what I mean, can adapt to speaking colloquial Yoruba, why should a Shekiri man not be able to adapt and speak colloquial Yoruba?
Okay, this question, music and filmmaking now.
Yeah.
In response to an award given to Thames recently, Best Gospel and Inspirational something at the BET Awards, you said that, I mean, you expressed a strong opinion about it, and you concluded by saying that it will seem as if the entertainment mafia is in the grip of Satan.
That's not news. That's not news.
I know it's not news. Now, you are in a business that is in the grip of Satan. Is there a conflict? Do you see that as a conflict?
No, there's no conflict in it, because I have a duty to occupy. My mandate is to occupy till Jesus comes. The entertainment industry is, for the most part, in the grip of Satan. But how do I say, there will always be, I am the salt of the earth. I'm not going to run away from the entertainment industry because it's in the grip of Satan. I'm going to go there and do what I'm supposed to do and be an example. That is the mandate that I have. My mandate is to go into the world. The entertainment industry is the world. I will go into it. I will maintain my dignity, and I will show that it is possible. Just like Jesus Christ came into this sinful world and showed that it was possible to be sinless in a sinful world. So I'm not afraid of Satan. I'm not going to retreat because Satan is controlling what ordinarily should not belong to him. But what has happened is that people we've given ground to people of very, very loose morals and loose. We've given ground to evil people to occupy that space. And we have a duty to take it back. We may not succeed in taking it back until Jesus comes, but let it not be said that we were sucked into it. That's why I told you now that, for instance, I am beginning to reconsider doing manifestly evil roles. The caveat I will give is that I could do the role, but it has to be in that story that there's some kind of redemptive value. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, good has to triumph over evil. Because you cannot tell a story, you know what I mean? That a story has to have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But for me, a good ending would be that at the end of the day, good triumphed over evil. So that on that score, doing a quote unquote evil role, I will not rule it out. But it's important to me that a message be told through the entire work. That piece of art has to have some redemptive value. So that's where I stand on that.
Okay. So you said earlier that you've been there, you've done that, and you got the T-shirts. When did this happen to you? When did that turn around? When did your Damascus experience happen?
No, you see, it's not. It's something. It's for instance. 5 years ago, if I would have enjoyed. It's not a one-time thing. You begin to, as you evolve, you begin to see something and say, no, let's leave this alone. It's not a one-time. But if you're asking about when did I have my conviction to be a born-again Christian, there's a particular year where that took place.
What year was that?
1987. But between 1987 and now, I still bought the T-shirt. I went there You know, you understand? I'm just saying that it's a walk. It's a journey. And between 1987 and now, there were things that I did in 1989 that I shrink when I remember those things. That's post 1987. There are things I did in 1995, which is post 1987, which when I remember them, I just say, aye. You understand what I'm saying? But as I said, I can look back at them and do, but it's not with regret, and it's not with, if anything, some of them I even laugh at it. You've come a long way, well done. You know what I mean? But there's still much to be done. Like now, I'm still justifying doing the bad guy role. I'm justifying it. I'm telling you, I know. It's called Awawi. You understand? I'm going to get to a point now where that will no longer suffice, and it's just going to be, okay, if no rule, take it away. I don't want. You understand? I'm looking forward to getting to that conviction. So I'm just saying, it's not a one-time, one-size-fits-all. You grow into these things, and as I said, before now, I made a statement. I said, I hate iniquity. 2 years ago, I would never be able to say that. So how can you say that? There is still iniquity in my existence. It still exists. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm announcing my hatred for it, even in advance of my conquering that iniquity. Do you understand what I'm saying? But so as I said, I've grown to the point where I can announce it. You get what I mean? And there's no devil that's going to say, hey, well, hate iniquity. She be, you understand? She be walker. You can't do me a be walker. What you saw, I hate iniquity. You understand? I love righteousness. There was a time in my Christian walk, I wouldn't be able to say that. Just I hate iniquity. One man, if one share. Do you understand what I'm saying? But now, as I said, it's a progressive walk, and I'm glad that I'm going to the point where I cannot go back. You understand? Nobody's going to take me. You understand? So I'm at the point of no return. As they say in Latin, iwaju.
You're quite bit racist. Now, talking about music, two musicians that I've heard you speak well about, Yemi Alade, if I remember.
Yes.
And Seun Kuti.
Yes.
Now, why do you particularly like these two people? What about them do you like?
In the case of Yemi Alade has resisted the temptation to be popular in the music that she's expressing herself. She's not jumping on any trend train. She's doing her own thing, and she may never, how do I say, she may never become a global star, but she is authentically African, and she has found her space, and she has remained in her space. But then again, she's also a wonderful performer. She puts a lot of work into her performance. You see the work in her videos, you see the work in her performances. There's a lot of choreography, there's a lot. So that is somebody who deserves kudos for how far she has come, and she's been consistent. The other gentleman is, it's not so much for his music, but it's for his intellect. Seun Kuti is profound. He is probably one of Nigeria's more cerebral minds. And I think we should listen to him a bit more and listen to, because he clearly shows he's a man of thought, and he's a man who researches his subjects. You might quarrel with his delivery, but I think that any discerning person should look beyond delivery and listen to what is being said and see whether there's any sense to be made. So in this case, 90% of the time I agree with him. There are areas where I don't agree, but then also he's also a true African. He shows respect to his elders. You see the way he relates to his elder brother? I have met him on a couple of occasions, and he has shown me nothing but respect, and that is flowing from his African heritage. He's a true African. He does what he preaches. And but he's also a Kuti. So that radical bone. So the way I say it, this is the way I say it. Fela was a consummate musician as well as a radical activist. What he has done, his DNA has been split between his first son, who is also a consummate musician, much better musician than Sean, his grandson, who is also a consummate musician, who I think in real terms, Made Kuti is probably the best all-round musician in Nigeria in terms of musicianship, in terms of skills in the in instrumentation. I don't think that anybody comes close. So Shehu has inherited his father's analytical and radical mind. So the Kuti family is going to be around for a very long time because of this, what I just described.
Let me get a bit personal. Now, in 2018, you wrote this thing on Facebook. I'm not going to go into what, why, and certain things, but you said about you and an apology that you've done something wrong, that you're in a doghouse and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you write that?
Why not? Why not?
It was an apology to your ex-wife.
Don't husbands apologize to their wives? Don't wives apologize to their husbands? So it's not a, how do I say it? It's a done, that's done, it's done.
Were you apologizing for an iniquity?
I don't, that the type of iniquity that you are thinking of is not an iniquity that I'm engaged in. Listen, a man has a duty to make his spouse happy. So if your spouse is not happy for whatever reason, you take responsibility for it. You don't say to yourself, "Iwolomo, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that." Go. You understand? So it is my duty as a man to say, okay, you don't look like you're happy. Even if it means admitting that you know what I mean? So whatever happens, the responsibility for the stability of the home is that of the head of the home. So that was a bid to, how do I say it? It was a bid to fulfill my responsibility to ease whatever the tensions were at the time. So that's not, I make no apologies for fulfilling my role and doing whatever it is that I could to maintain the equilibrium.
Last year, 2023, you said you have never been happier. I think that was in March when you announced.
I didn't announce it.
No, but it was on social media. It was on social media.
No. I didn't make
it was on the Mondrin Sunday, if I remember.
Yes.
When you said that.
Yes. Funmilayo, I've never been happier in my life, and I say it with all responsibility. And
that statement wasn't just somebody who was in love. It was something that you really, really meant.
Of course. Do I not look like a happy man? Do I look my age? Am I not looking radiant? Have I looked this radiant in living memory? Of course, I'm a very happy man. I've never been happier in my life. And for anyone to deem it that it was supposed to be a slight on another human being, that person must be very low, must be very low on the food chain of humanity. How can you quarrel with a man's happiness? You get them? Did I ever announce to you that at a point that I was unhappy? I said I've never been this happy, meaning that I'm at my happiest now. My past has been happy. Now my present is happier. My future is going to even be happier. You understand? So how does my being happier now, how does that negate my happiness of before? You understand? So I wonder how anybody would have thought it was a slight on anybody.
Okay. Now let me play the, do you call it devil's advocate now? We ask a question that a journalist would ask. Because I remember then that you listed 4 women that have made you happy.
Yes.
You listed your mom,
My
rightfully
mom.
so, 2 of your sisters.
Yes.
Then your late wife. Yeah.
My late wife, yes.
Yeah. Someone was conspicuously missing.
If the person is missing, the person is missing. It's not a...
The person missing was Ireti.
I don't... If she was missing, she was missing. Has she told you that she was happiest with me? She did an interview. Did she, you understand what I'm saying? Did she fondly, you understand? So it's not, if I'm not true to myself, then I'm an agbaya. My mother, my sisters, my late wife. That's not even a slight on anybody, it's just, they impacted me in a positive way. How can what ended up being not happy, how can that be a positive? How can I list that as a, fondly? Why should I remember that fondly? I don't remember it for evil. You know what I mean? Just one of those things. It was just, but did it impact me? It wasn't a pleasant, it's not pleasant. The outcome wasn't pleasant, so why should I lie? Do you get what I'm saying? Why should I tell that lie?
What kind of relationship do you both have now?
Well, very cordial. Very, very cordial. Very cordial. Ireti is a first-class mother, provider for her children. She's taking fantastic care of my daughter. How can I wish her ill? You know what I mean? As far as mothers go, they don't come any better. You understand? She provides 360 mothering care. Fantastic. So,
I was saying at the point that it was tough for me to ask that question because
I've never answered it. I've never spoken about it.
Because on a personal level, because I've had a relationship with you that is over 2 decades.
Yes.
Individually and as a couple, both of you. And even your current wife too, we are friends on social media and we exchange this thing.
She said to say hi to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And say hi to her too. Now, this is the first thing I told Ireti, that there was a reason why I didn't call either of you when all those stories were going on, because I didn't know what to say.
There was nothing to say. No, let's put it this way. I just paid her compliments. You get what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to pay compliment. Whereas how do I say that? I'm not afraid. I'm not hiding under. I'm not hiding under my behind my finger. There's no. I've never spoken about her in public. Even now, if I'm going to speak about somebody, if I cannot say something edifying about the person, I'd rather not speak at all. You understand? So I have said something edifying about her. I have paid my debt to our memory. You understand what I'm saying? So that's done.
You were both in the Black Book, and I found that, were you on set at the same time?
Yes, in fact, there was one of the scenes where she arrested me, but it was cut out of the edit. It was cut out. Yes, we had an encounter.
Why did they cut that one out?
I think it was overrunning. The story, it would have been about a 3-hour plus movie. So a lot of scenes were cut out in the final edit. But yeah.
Do you look forward to working together?
We should have worked together recently, but I don't know what happened recently. Even before that, we'd done a film together by Stanley Ohikware called A Tune Away, which I don't know where you'll see it, but we'd done that together, and we had close scenes together in that one, where we had several scenes together, alone and conversations. So that's not an issue.
Okay. Now, let me go back to Fumilayo.
Yeah?
You got married at the registry in 2022?
That's right.
August 2022.
Yes.
Then I think that thing that I referred to as an announcement was in March 2023.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did it take that long for you to make it public?
Because my business is my business. She on the day of the registry, she posted it on her, I don't know, one of her handles. When it became, how do I say it? It's just not what I do. I've never posted. I don't post about my. I didn't post it. She posted it, and she asked me whether I said go ahead, but I'm not. I'm not posting it. So it was not a secret. You get what I mean? It was Mothering Sunday, and I decided to pay tribute to her alongside the other women that had impacted my life. So it's not I was not announcing my marriage to her. I would have thought that any discerning person would have known that we got married a year plus before. So it wasn't any design.
Now, one thing I see you do regularly, at least every Sunday now, is that you post videos of you dancing in church on social media.
Yes.
That's at the Household of God Church. And I've known that I've known you as a member of Household of God since forever. How is Pastor Chris these days?
He's good. He's good. He's good.
We don't get to hear. He doesn't speak a lot anymore like before.
Pastor Chris is an enigma. He does what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He does things according to the leading of the Spirit. So he has always, when you used to hear him, it was because he had a mandate to be heard. You understand? If you don't hear him, it is because he has not been given the mandate to speak. So it's as simple as that for him. Pastor Chris is a fundamentalist in the truest sense of the word. You know, the world regards fundamentalists as radical and loquacious. I'm a student of English. Fundamentalist means he's fundamentally committed to doing the will of God as it reveals itself to him. You understand? He doesn't do extra. He doesn't add, doesn't subtract. So if he's not talking, it is because it's not time to talk. He has not been given the mandate to speak. If anything, he's very articulate. He's very smart. He can make sense out of no sense. You understand? You understand? So with the gift that he has, you would have thought that he would be, but he's a man under authority, and he shows, it is clear, you know what I mean, that he operates the principle of until I'm mandated, I stay where I am. So he's staying where he is because I believe that he's under instruction to stay where he is.
You also do MC, you know that. And you are the president of St. Finbar's Old Student.
Yes.
You didn't get to say anything about St. Finbar's Old Student.
Okay, I'm enjoying that role. That is more or less my 9 to 5 now. When I don't get paid, so let's not, when I say it's my 9 to 5, I'm preoccupied with it because I'm doing stuff and I'm seeing the results. It's very fulfilling to conceive something and see it to fruition. And as president of St. Finbar's College, I've had the opportunity of doing things that, you know what I mean, that it makes me proud of myself. And because I've never been a leader. I've never been one to, to put myself forward to lead. But in this my experiment with leadership, I see that, okay, I could lead, I'm leading, and we're not doing badly at all. So I'm finding it really exciting. I'm enjoying being president.
Okay. What's next for Uncle PD?
What next? I want to do what you're doing. I want to do this. I think that life has invested too much experiences in me for me not to want to impart it to this generation, especially this generation where it would appear that they are impervious to good reason, where their wokeness has taken them beyond the pole. They have taken their sacrifice beyond the mosque. And I think they need to be called back gently. And it would be remiss of me, with all that I have been through, not to give this generation the benefit of my experience. I think they will listen, and if they don't, it will be on record that I did my duty as an elder, because I have become an elder, whether or not I can't deceive myself that I'm not an elder. So I want to be able to design some kind of content that will resonate with them. I've been thinking about it, and I think I'll come up with it, and so that I can impart my experience and impact this generation, should it find itself amenable to being impacted by the things that I have been through.
Okay. And I have no doubts that you will make a success of it.
Amen.
I'm here. If there's anything you want me to do, if there's any idea you want to bounce off me,
I will. I started bouncing off even just before.
So
now.
Please. I'll be most honored to do that.
Thank you.
Uncle PD, thanks again for
my
coming.
pleasure.
We should do this again soon.
Not a problem.
There's a lot to talk about. I'm sure.
I'm game.
And there's a lot that.
You don't know. I used to think, I've been a show host on television and everything, but I used to think that it was narcissistic. It takes a measure of narcissism for one to stand and start. There's people who talk about everything. I'm very reticent to be seen to be, but it seems that the trend now is people just throw away their inhibitions. I've been inhibited in terms of, I just think it's not modest to put your mouth into every single issue. So I want to carefully choose the issues where I will put my mouth and articulate it in such a way that it will be impactful. So I'm trying to borrow a little bit of narcissism. You know what I mean? The good parts where I can suspend my inhibitions and positively communicate with this generation.
And a bit of narcissism isn't bad after all, if you ask me.
I'm trying to cultivate it. I will get there.
Okay, thank you very much for coming once again. Uncle PD.
Yes.
It's been nice having you.
Mighty.
So that's all from us. Thank you.